Hey, my coding family, how's everybody doing today? Let's see, can everybody hear me? Yeah, they can today, I think. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing today? Just broke a fingernail. Trying to deal with it real quick before I get popped online. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody on a Monday. All right. Let me get this switched over to our practice questions for today. He won't sit there. We just got him right there. All right, and I think we were on like question 20 something, so let me scooch you down here and get to our question. This is still so zoomed in. Why are you, phone? There we go. Here we go. And let me bring up our YouTube chat. How's everybody doing? Hey, Cynthia. Hey, Carla. Good to see you. Happy Marvelous Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend, she said. Tasha, good to see you. Hey, Go-Kart. Thank you for the comment. I can pin. Hey, Baby Ruth. Good to see you. I'm new here. Saturday, you sat in on the other day. Awesome. So glad to see you. I hope I can help make a difference somehow in your life. Either make the course easier for you, but especially making the certification exam easier, less stressful. You absolutely do not have to have a course to be a medical coder. You just have to pass one exam, which is your CPC exam, which I like because you get 2 attempts for the money. You can go through ahima and take a CCS test and be a medical coder too. They just only allow 1 attempt per purchase. So you can take these exams multiple times, and they are open book exams. Hey, JP, good to see you. Hey, Alyssa. Davis, good to see you. Yeedram? Is that the last name, Melissa? Good to see you. Who else have I got? I may miss somebody. Shelly, Christy, good to see you. Raju, you know I'm not going to say the first part of it, but good to see you. I hope I can help you too. If you are taking your medical coding certification exam through aapc, but you happen to be in a different country, like in Indonesia, Bali, those countries, they make you take the certification exam at a testing center, and they give you blank books to use. You got study books, right? Your AAPC's ICD-10 book, your CPT book, and your HIPICS book. You can write in those all the notes you want if you're in a different country, but when you take your exam on exam day, they will give you blank books to use, unfortunately. If you're taking your exam from home or at a testing center within the United States, you absolutely can take your own books with all your notes in them and use them during your exam. Just the way AAPC has it set up. Hey Kenesha, good to see you. I just emailed you some practice questions so you can practice remotely from your email address. Isn't that fancy? She and a few others have been testing out this system that I have where I can email you some practice questions daily, and then it grades it and sends it back to me to let me know how you're doing. You get a grade, but you don't know which questions you might have gotten wrong, that kind of stuff, and you don't get the rationale. But still, what great practice is that, to get me emailing you every day some practice questions. I think it's fun. And it can build up your confidence, because as the days go by, you'll see your start to get, instead of 50% correct or 40% correct, then you'll start getting 80 to 90% or 100% correct. I vary my days. When I start off on a new chapter, I'll send just 5 questions on a new chapter, and then the next day you'll get 10, and then the next day you'll get 15 on that chapter, and then I'll move on to a next question set. So it's kind of fun. I'm just playing around with it, seeing if it works right, and if it's something that we can put on the website. Anyway, kind of fun. Hey Samantha, good to see you guys. Just type in chat what you guys think is the answer and ask your questions away. Hey Samantha. Hey Dolly. I do have a question of what you need, Samantha. I was just wondering. She said hi. I was wondering where your question was. I was just thinking about that. Karen, good to see you. Hey Royal. Okay, in 2024 book, where can you find the definitions for the 3 stages of anesthesia? You cannot find them inside your anesthesia book unless you write them in there. So if properties, switch that and then switch this back. I don't know why it makes me do this before it'll turn on the camera. So if we're in our anesthesia book, that information is not in there. It's probably in your training manual, right, that comes with your course, or Miss Google, your best friend, right? So if it's not, in which it wouldn't be probably in your guidelines, because it's going to assume you are a medical coder and you understand what the differences are in anesthesia already. So it wouldn't put the types of anesthesia in it. I can list 8 types of anesthesia, but the 3 main ones, or the 3 classifications that AAPC likes to ask about, you need to write in on your own. So if we're here in our anesthesia guidelines, you can write it wherever you want. A lot of times I'll put it at the bottom of the first column. So 3 and then I have to have a straight line thingy because I can't draw a straight line anymore. My hands shake too much. You get older. There we go. And then, anybody know any of them? Does anybody know what your 3 classifications of anesthesia are? General, regional, which is like your nerve blocks and stuff, and Number 3 would be monitored, right? Max. Monitored anesthesia. So it's not there unless you write it in, as far as I remember and know. All right, somebody was asking some stuff. Yep, local. Yep. Tiffany became number 8 fan of my TikToks. Thank you for the heart me. You're awesome. Thank you for all the taps and shares. Hey, C3, good to see you. What is this? Hey, Jess, this is medical coding certification exam prep. Actually, sort of, kind of. We practice medical coding certification exam questions so that you can pass your medical coding certification exam to become a medical coder. A lot of people get this certification and do other things like medical chart auditor, abstractor, insurance verification specialist, all kinds of stuff, so that they can work remote from home with the insurance companies or medical groups. You just need a certification, and there's 2 companies that are nationally known or universally known across the world that give out certifications for that profession. And if you want to be in patients' charts, digging around in them, you need some sort of education. So this is the way the system has self-regulated itself, so that it gives people that can pass an exam this special certification. Some people take courses for it. Some people are self-study. Totally up to you, but you still need to take this exam. And that's what I do here. That is what this is doing for. I am here just to make this process easier for you guys. During COVID, I saw a lot of people spending a lot of money for medical coding courses, like thousands of dollars, and it was not helping them pass their medical coding certification exam. And that's not what the courses are intended to do. The courses are intended to show you how to medically code in paper books. That's what they show you how to do. To pass the medical coding certification exam is another little tidbit that you need to learn how to do, and it's 100 questions in 4 hours, and it's all multiple choice, and it is open book exam. And I did the exam without a course, and I just made a TikTok about it one day saying, you don't need a course, don't spend your COVID money on this, you can pass without a course. And that's how this turned out, how this little channel happened. I wish I could hear more of you awesome coders out there with the CCS. A lot of people go get both. They get CCS and a CPC. I thought it was something nursing related. I just started my BS in information management. That's awesome, Stephen. Can definitely help you pass your exam for your MIN. But being a good multiple choice question taker is great. My son is actually in the same course through NHA or something like that through his high school, and I get to watch those videos and listen to their course and stuff like that. It's totally fun. I'm totally new here. How do I start? Lena, so in my bio, if you click on my little blue logo up there with the blue plus sign, you'll see 3 pinned TikToks. One of them is labeled, Where Do I Start? Perfect video for you. 2 minutes, and it'll tell you exactly where to start. Dawn, thank you for sharing the live. Team CCS, yeah, one of my very first people that I ever helped pass the certification exam was a CCS student. She hadn't passed her exam. She'd taken it before, and her name was Janet, and it was back in 2019, and she was one of my very first. I miss her so much. She got it and her CPC and is out living her best life. I want to know everything before I take the test. That's awesome. You're testing in August? That's great. You saved me and helped me pass mine. I had so many tries. Aw, Ashley, that is so sweet. Thank you so much for saying so. That's fantastic. Just to know that I made an impact on your life. You know, never spent a dime on me, you know, bought anything for me. That's even better. Just listen to me. Let me teach you how to be a good exam taker and help you with guidelines and things that you do need to know for the exam along the way, and then take your exam and pass, because I didn't even want to be a medical coder. I was already in my position, and then during COVID, my audits got canceled because of it. I was still working and still employed, but I had time on my hands. So I just figured I'd get certified just to be doing something, because I got to keep my brain active. I'm in my late 50s, or I don't know, 54. I don't know, do you call that late? But I have to keep my brain active or I get bored to tears. So I just did it I didn't want to learn medical coding. I don't want to bill anybody anything. But I like doing medical auditing and chart auditing and auditing physicians. So I just took it just to be taking it. So, and I'm an awful at school. Like, I did first grade twice. I, may have been an auditor all my life, ended up at the audit line at Ford Factory, or was nursing supervisor for my hospital, and always was in a lead position when I was in a position of a job. But education-wise, dead last of my class always. Book learning is different than doing. So I was always bad at class, but I could do anything. It's just reading it and doing it was different. So I learn a little bit different than everybody else. So I put out educational material that's kind of based towards how I like to learn or how I do learn. So it's a little different than book learning. So maybe it'll help some more people too. How do you recommend to start studying? That is my pinned TikTok. I recommend you start with the study guide. So if you're going to go through AHIMA or AAPC, then you need their study guide for the certification that you're going to take. So just go to Google, search, if you're going to do AAPC and you're going to do CPC, search AAPC, CPC study guide. Search on Google, find you the cheapest one you can find. Find one. It doesn't matter if it's a couple of years old. All they do is replace the book covers and very rarely update any questions. A lot of the codes and stuff are the same from year to year. We do have updates, but if you're strapped for money, don't think that you absolutely have to buy the latest version of everything. There's people on there selling their used ones, like on Macari or eBay or whatever, and those are fine. I have the official brand new one that I can ship you to your house that's $50 cheaper than what you can find on Amazon, because I get a teacher's discount because I'm licensed through AAPC. So if you do go to medicalcodingbyjen.com, you can go to the shop where my notes are and stuff. And you can, in the courses, it just says notes and courses. It doesn't say shop, but if you go there, you can buy it for $99 instead of $149, which is on Amazon. But seriously, you can probably find somebody somewhere that's selling one for cheap and buy it used. That's perfectly fine. The questions from my 2019 study guide are almost the same exact questions inside that study guide as far as chapter practice questions as they are today in the 2025 version. So Don't think that you can't get a used one. You can get a used one. Don't worry. But start with that. You need to give that sucker a good read. And then you need to get you an AMA CPT book, 2025. Might as well, since it's July. And then you need to start watching my videos and watch me book prep. And you need to start practicing questions. Sorry if I missed your questions. There's over 30 in TikTok, and I definitely cannot get back to all those. Just re-ask it again if I missed it, because the chat just went poof. Ooh, Ashley, somebody passed. Megan, thank you for the gifts. Question, do we code each lesson separately? Lesson. What is she talking about? They take yours in July. So if you are in a AAPC CPC course, then each chapter does have a practical application quiz, or whatever you want to call it, with 10 to 20 cases in it that are not multiple choice, that you actually code individually. But if you have me as your teacher, because I do sell the course at my cost, I don't sell it for profit, but I sell it at cost, then I'll do those practical applications with you. And then your quizzes in your chapter and then your exams in that chapter are all multiple choice. No big deal. But is that what you're talking about? But hopefully you can do all this without buying a course and all that good stuff. Lesions. Oh, do you code lesions? Okay. Lesions. So if they're cancerous, yes, they are. If you're removing something and it's a cancer, you're coding it by itself. So if you've got 3 lesions, look for an answer that's got 3 CPT codes in it. All right, did everybody get the answer for this one? You know, with this question, the first thing you need to think about is, am I a symptom, which is just the letter R, right? Because that chapter in your ICD-10 book, all the ones that are coded with an R are just symptoms. D's are neoplasms, N's are for kidneys, urinary systems, stuff like that. So just think about that. What brought the patient in today and why are they being seen? And then that will help you pick out the correct answer. So if we're doing a uterus, you know your answer is in your uterus area, right? All right. What about this one? Think about your letter headers. What is K? That's our stomach, right? C is cancer. What's the difference between it and the D's? Do we have cancer in situ, or do we have primary cancer that is likely to spread? If we're in the D section, that is like an encapsulated cancer. So knowing the differences between those can help out just a little bit. Let me check up on YouTube chat and see what I missed. I know Samantha's got a question coming up. Oh yeah, I did that one. Good, the 3 stages of anesthesia. I'm paying for a course right now. They're offering for free. That's awesome. Oh no, you're paying for a course, but now they're offering it for free. Oh no, baby Ruth, I am so sorry. Lions, good to see you. How do you get those questions emailed to you? Yeah, I'm trying to think of how I can set this up where you guys can sign up for those email daily quizzes. I'm thinking about it, seeing how I can sign people up for that, and then keep track of that. Trying to figure that out because my brain can only hold up so much stuff, and then creating email list and then removing people from list when they decide, okay, quit emailing me, stop it. It's a whole process. So I'm trying to find a way to do this where maybe you guys can sign up yourselves, and then when you get done with it, you can sign yourselves out of it somehow. So, and then that's all automated on my website. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So let me think. But I had to make sure the system actually works, and it is. It's working great. So I'm still working on it. I'm just some lady on the internet, so I'm trying. All right, Samantha. Yes, it's a big headache, and it can be very expensive. Over 2 years now, yep. And taking so many exams, just nervous. Aw. How much for your courses? It depends on what you need. So if you don't need the CPC or the AAPC manuals, I mean like the ICD-10 book, the CPT book, and the HitPix book, you just need access to Blackboard and your 2 textbooks that come with that, then you can get it for what I have to send to AAPC. So I think that is the $2,600 on my website. So you pay me, I just turn around and send that right back to AAPC. There you go. If you need the books, that's $2,400 actually, $2,400. And then if you need those 3 books, they charge me $220 and then tax on top of it for those manuals to ship to you. So I charge just in the $2,600 for that. If you want me to teach you every single chapter of the course, the 22 chapters of the course, then there is a link for that on my website for, I think, $3,400 to help me pay for the Zoom links, the website. I have to hold all these videos and stuff and host stuff for you guys. And we meet weekly, and then you get unlimited, all my notes with it. So that's $500 worth of my notes for my books. And then you get unlimited Zooms with me, even outside of class, whatever you want. If you need help through the course, I'm available whenever you want. Schedule all the time. And then yeah, you get weekly classes with me, my notes, and Practicode, so that you guys will, when you finish the course 100% completely, then you do Practicode. You'll come out without an apprenticeship because you'll have both of those. You'll have a full CPC without the 2 years of apprenticeship, so it includes all that stuff. So, but that's inside on my website if you need it. There's tons of financing options and stuff like that too. The $14.99 for the YouTube thing is, so there's 3 different levels because YouTube asked me to provide them with 3 different levels. It's whatever you want to pay and do for the content, basically, is how I have it set up right now. You can pick the $5 level, the other level, and then the $14 one. It's just up to you, whatever you want to contribute. YouTube keeps half, I get the other half, and that's just part of like just what you want to contribute to the YouTube content. The YouTube content you get, no matter what level you pick, you get access to all my duck classes, which we go over extremely difficult practice questions that no matter what, you're going to get wrong anytime. You get all my podcasts, which I've got 2 of them on. One of them on the E&M guidelines, where I'm just reading it out word for word to you from the books, and then telling you what it means in layman's terms. And then I've got the ICD-10 guidelines I'm reading out, and then I've got the course I'm reading out. And then I put in like just ocean videos with it so that you can listen to me talk about the business of medicine in layman's terms and what it's about, what you need for your course. And then I just posted a video today for the medical terminology part of the course and what do you need to know. And then I'm going to go through and finish all those. And then you also get access to all the old workshops, which are 3 to 4 hour long workshops where we do exam questions in the same pace as the exam. So you can just start one of those videos and let it run for 3 hours, and I'll post questions just like this, and then you can watch me, but you can also mimic and go try to find the answers for yourself within 2 minutes per question and see if you can't find the answers too, because you can turn off the audio and just watch the video and see if you can't come up with the correct answer in the same pace as me. They're great mock exams to see if you're ready for your certification exam. Those are up there. And then all my book prep videos. So if you want to watch me make my notes, I've got videos on every section that'll start you off on every chapter. It won't be for every single code to watch me do every single note, but it's enough to get you started for every single chapter in this book. What I'm doing, why I'm doing it, why I'm highlighting it. It's mainly meant for you guys to listen, open up your book, grab your highlighters, and start working with me. Listen to my words that I'm saying. Okay, go to this code. I'll tell you the code number. Go highlight this. Go underline this. There's a reason why we do it. It's because of this. So like if we're in cardiovascular, somebody was on TikTok earlier today was like, oh, this is bull crap. Why is it so difficult, this chapter, cardiovascular? There's a lot of little tiny differences in this chapter for sure. So one of the ones that super helpful to mark your differences, of course, is whether you're in an arterial or venous, which is super helpful because a lot of the codes are all arterial or they're all venous or they're a combo code. Sometimes you're only doing procedures that are extra, which I highlight in purple, and then a lot of the other codes in this section are just going to be intra, which is a different color code. If you're intra or if you're extra makes a big difference in your code selection, and just highlighting those two differences, a different color, and then looking through your exam question. If it's this code or this code, answer A or answer B, you already know what your first word is that you're going to look through your question for to see if it is this or that, because I have it written or highlighted right there. You're going to go look and see if you're intra or extra. And then once you find that inside your question, you know what your answer is because of the one-word differences over here to the side. Anyway, it's all done in the videos, which is super helpful for those YouTubes. And the tiers are just up to you guys. Some of your cardiovascular codes are only on the left side of the heart, the procedure is, or you're on the right side of the heart. And color coding those differences in your CPT code descriptors will make a huge difference. If you're only on the right, then those procedure codes are highlighted blue, right? And if you're only on the left side of the heart working on it, then you will mark that. A lot of your codes and the descriptions are the exact same thing, but the only difference is a buried word that you got to go find, which is right or left. And if you just color code them, they'll pop out to you. So I like to do that. But that comes with the YouTube videos. For this question, are we coding the patient a status code, a Z code? Or are we doing an injury code, which is a T code? Our status codes are like history of, or here for chemotherapy, here for a wellness exam, or are they here for an injury? Did they have something happen to them? Knowing that will get you down to a 50-50 shot. Then you can pick out your answer. Everybody saying B on this one? B is correct. Good job. What about this one? Yep, there's post-operative diagnoses too. I have just got on, just relax. We've only done like 3 questions. Just got on. I've been chatting away too much today. I slept good last night. Hope everybody's doing good. Hey McNair, good to see you. Credentials, you need either a CCS from AHIMA or a CPC through aapc. You can also get a CRC, which is only for diagnosis codes, and you can risk adjust, which a lot of medical companies, as far as doctors' offices and health plans, need risk adjusters too. I'm not saying it's easier, but at least you only have 1 book to learn instead of 3. And it does not come with an apprenticeship like your CPC does. So that's a pretty cool certification to get when it's only diagnosis codes, and then you only have the 1 manual, and it doesn't come with apprenticeship, and it's in high demand. Pretty cool. But you just need to be certified. No, RHIT isn't as popular anymore. That's kind of fallen out of favor. Unless you're going to be an administrator and run some sort of department in a hospital for like billing or medical coding or risk adjusting, you really wouldn't need that. But a great career step is to get your certification in medical coding or risk adjusting, start working for a company, and then get your associate's degree in something like that, the RHIT, and then you could build up your career and become an administrator or educator for your hospital, but have it to where your company pays you to do that, where they're paying for your course credit hours, or they're reimbursing you as you turn in your report card and your bill, right? So that you can save any Pell Grant money or whatever that you might get to go back to college in a Roth IRA, and leave the Pell Grant money alone for 20 years, and you'd be a multi-millionaire if you did that. I mean, if I had any advice for anybody that was 18 right now, it would be self-study, get your CPC and a CRC, and self-study them both. Start working for a health plan, medical company, whatever, remote from home. And then while you're doing that, get your associate's degree through that job, getting it all reimbursed, and apply for the Pell Grant too at the same time. Take every dime they send you, including your reimbursement money, put it in a Roth IRA, leave it all alone. Don't spend none of it on nails, your hair, or a Labubu. Don't spend a dime of it. Put all that Pell Grant money in your Roth IRA. Invest it in the top 500 companies. Just one big acquisition fund that covers all the top 500 companies all in one fund, and then leave it alone. Don't put another dime in it. Leave it alone. And then by the time you're 50, you'll be a multi-millionaire. So, plus you'll have your degree in running a company. And don't forget to, when you do join the company, be sure and invest in their 401k. Invest only the amount of money that your company matches. If they match 4%, then you put in 4%, and then leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't touch it for no reason. Put that 401k and your Roth IRA in a trust, which is just like a fancy name for a company. You fake name yourself as anything. Just name it something wild that is not your name. Name the trust like Yoda Coding or something. I don't know. Whatever. Name it any name other than your own name. And put yourself as the trustee of the trust. And then just leave it all alone. Don't touch it. That way it cannot be divided in half if you ever enter into one of those contractual marriages or whatever, or if you have any car wrecks or anything, no one can hit either one of those and take any of it. So that will secure that money comes to you or your children and doesn't go to anybody that doesn't deserve it later on in life. There's my 18-year-old advice. If I had all this to do all over again. Q's, these are genetic disorders, right? And then our chapter header for P versus H. If you just know what the chapter headers are, that will help you out a whole bunch. But I bet if we do the process of elimination with this one, we would at least get us down to A or B. We want to avoid the 9s. Most of the time, you got to be careful though with 0 because it's super close. One of them means NOS and one of them means NES. If we have too much information, we're going to code one of them. If we don't have enough information, we'll code the other one. So knowing which one is which is super helpful too. And then if your glaucoma is in your right or your left, your last digit will be like 1 or 2. That is super helpful. But what did you guys get with this one? You have an associate's in medical billing and coding. That's great. That's awesome. It's great to have, but I wouldn't pay for that and do that on my own before I got a medical coding job, if that makes sense. Just go in and get certified without a course, and then have your company that you work for your first medical coding job, it's going to be lower pay or whatever, then make them reimburse you to go to associate and get your associate's degree. That's what, don't think that you got to have that degree to get into this. You don't. Just get certified and then make the first company you get a job for reimburse you to get that associate's degree. If you want to get higher on up in administration and get one of those fancy jobs where you wear high heels or go to lunches all the time and conventions and never in the office. If you want to be an administrator one of these days, then absolutely get your associates. You don't need bachelors anymore, but you can. If you get bored like I do at work and need more stuff to do to fill your brain and keep it active, then go for your bachelor's in auditing, medical auditing. And then once you finish that, get your master's in medical auditing. And then once you finish that, get your doctorate in medical auditing. And then you could really make administrators shake in their boots when you walk into their hospital. And you get paid literally 6 figures to do nothing but have lunches all the time. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But make all the companies that you ever work for pay for you to get your doctorate in auditing. Don't pay for it yourself. Don't put yourself in a financial hardship to do all that. Just take one credit at a time, and as soon as you get that credit, make your job reimburse you. Squirrel that money in your Roth IRA. There you go. Then do one more credit next semester. Then do one more credit. And before long, 20 years have gone by and you've got your doctorate in it. There's your answer. Answer C. It was our 9 this time. E's for diabetes, I's for circulatory cardiovascular issues. Why is the patient here? They have a diabetic and a circulatory disorder that caused the amputation of a leg to go gangrene. Would we have 1 code? Would we have 2 codes? Would we have 3 codes? A lot of that info is super helpful to help you with that process of eliminating which answers could be wrong or right. A lot of our diabetic codes are combination codes. If we are on the right or left, we might have a last ending digit that could help us out with figuring out which code could be correct. All I'm getting is lower leg, not getting a right or a left, but sometimes that's helpful because right is a 1, left is a 2. My mom's in there hollering about something. Let me go see what she needs. Be right back. You doing all right, Grandma? She left already. Okay. Mama just needed a jug of water moved into her room at her dispenser. And Travi's gone to help somebody with their dog. And James is still asleep at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. To be a teenager, home from school, right, for the summer, he is living the life. All right, did y'all get D as your answer? Yes. Hey, Kitty, how are you doing? Let me check out my YouTube. Has it been lagging today? I hope it hasn't been. besides me lagging, I'm being really slow today for some reason. You have your bachelor's degree and you're 40. That's awesome, Clara. You have a degree too, Karen. True, a degree is life, nothing without the certification. That's right. You got to have that certification. The degree does not help you get the job. You got to have that certification. I don't know why. They've just made it a standard. If you're super clinical, like an RN or a physician, then you can get into medical coding without the certification. That's what I did. But then you get asked all the time if they send you to a medical convention, or if your company wins an award and you got to go accept their reward on your company's behalf. People are going to ask all the time, are you CPC? Are you CPC? Are you certified? Are you certified? I don't know why they want to know. You're there getting an award. They're just going to hound you, even if you're clinical. So that's why I got certified. But if you are super clinical, then you can get into it without it. But it's probably going to be something that they would recommend or want you to get eventually. Just because if they ever get audited by anybody, and then you've got somebody messing with a chart, doing stuff with the CPT codes and the ICD-10 codes, but they've not been technically trained on it, I guess. They just want the certification. It just seems like it checks a box that makes them feel better about it for sure. I feel too old to get a doctor degree. I prefer the certifications. No worries. So we got 33 people on and 22 likes on the YouTube. Thank you much, guys. And on TikTok, we've got 4,000 taps and 41 people on. That's awesome. The stream is live on YouTube, and you can watch the replay all you want on my YouTube channel. Everything's Medical Coding by Jen. Are you doing OB and delivery, or are you dealing with something with just the kidneys only? And then knowing the little differences between O2 chapter in your ICD-10 book, or the O3 chapter, or the O9 chapter in your ICD-10 book can help out a whole bunch too. Just knowing those little differences. You don't have to go all the way down to the end and look up the codes. That's just a time waster when every single code is different. Just knowing your chapter headers, differences, the difference between O26 versus O35 versus the O90 will make all the difference for this question. If you're dealing with a mom and renal failure, you know, that's pretty complicated stuff. When you start out with anything that's happening to a mom, you start out light in the beginning of the sections. So an O2, you know, might be a light complication, miscarriages, stuff that are light comparatively, right? Then you get more difficult, like your numbers will go up and you might have circulatory problems or high blood pressures or other things. And then when you get to the higher the numbers, you've got, you know, the stuff we never want to see come into OB and delivery. So think about the numbers like that. The higher the number, the more complicated the cases are, of course. Just kind of think about it like that. Can help out too. C is our answer for that one. How many ICD-10 questions did I have in anesthesia? I know I got some better ones coming up pretty soon. Got to be done with these diagnostic ones soon. Are we doing stomach issues? And a K9 would be pretty severe in the Ks, right? And then starting out with you know, nausea, vomiting, first things, whatever, is lower the numbers are? Or are we doing symptoms? Or are we doing a status? Are they here for some sort of treatment, or do they have history of? And that's what we're diagnosing them, or for a wellness exam of some sort, something like that, physical. I took my CPMA. I finished it in 2 hours and 5 minutes. It was 100 questions. The first 35 questions or so are all about laws and regulations, you know, like what kind of audit is a prospective audit, or what kind of audit is a random audit, you know, which ones work better, what kind of signatures can you accept, those kind of things. And then the last set of questions, 65 questions, are patient charts and the billing. And you look at both and you compare them and see if they build the right code, the right diagnosis code, and if the chart was completed correctly with the right signatures for the right facility, for the right whatever. You need to know your place of service codes. You need to know your differences between who signs off on what types of charts. Because if you're reading an operative note, why is the anesthesiologist signing off on it when it should have been the surgeon? You know, those kind of things. And those come with multiple questions, like 1 to 4 questions per chart. And I did it in 2 hours and 5 minutes and passed. They give you 4 hours, though. You still, even at the 4 hour mark, you still only have 120 seconds per question to answer. I did them in 60 seconds. It was fun. D is your answer. Good job. It is the tummy, and then it's coded out to your specificity, right? It's all the way out to 6 digits. Pretty cool. All right, what about surgical versus anesthesia time? They love asking this question on the CPC exam for sure. Something or some sort of version of this question will always be on your exam. They love that sucker. They love it, love it, love it. And let me get into this YouTube channel somehow and send out some hey guys, sorry, my computer decided to reboot. I was rendering a pretty big video while we were streaming, so I figured I was overstressing it, but sometimes it reboots, sometimes it doesn't, but sorry about that. Didn't mean for that to happen. Let me open up Word document again. I gotta open up that one more time. Yes, I'm sure Go-Kart or Twinkle or somebody's emailing me. What number were we on? Let's see. We were down here close to 30, weren't we? Or any of them numbered? They're not numbered. Okay, where were we? I know we were like, okay, where is anesthesia time? Control F. Time. No? Really? Did I have up? Oh, I don't have up the right document. No wonder. This isn't the right one. I assumed it was going to bring up the right document. It didn't. Of course not. Come on, Word. Now where'd you go? Maybe it's Word that's giving me issues. Let me go to here. I got all my files. Let me open it up from over here. All right. We'll go to question banks, and we'll go to anesthesia. Open up. Says me. We were doing this question, and I had just adjusted it to where it was all in one sentence. There we go. And then let me move this sucker out of the way. There we go. And where's our little girl? Dear girl. Get her back up. Yep. This little thingy that I created with the help of a Fiverr artist. She can pop up here and pretend to be talking, since I don't show my old ugly face all the time. There we go. Got that. All right. And then, oop, we're just going. It's a struggling, but it's here. Let's hold our fingers. And this answer, of course, is when the anesthesiologist begins to prepare our patient for anesthesia, and then when we drop them off at post-op care. When we put them in post-op care, then we're done with them. That is our anesthesia time. I just got my total 309. What's that for? Your books. Anywhere else can I get the books cheap other than Amazon? AAPC charges me $209 for the books, but then you got to pay tax for it, and then you got to pay for shipping for all of it. So it's like $10 per book for shipping. So even that's going to put you at like $250 for all 3 books. Now, I use eBay and Macquarie apps and try to find them cheaper on Google. So just Google the book and then change your shipping or your Google to shopping and find them cheaper, as cheap as you can. And you can rent them from book places like Book Run for like $20 for 30 days, or 90 days, I mean. But you got to ship them back to the company, and you can't mark in them, so that's not real helpful. But sometimes I find them cheaper there. I know our AMA CPT for 2025 will be going down in price in September, so it won't be so expensive. But if you can find a 2024 one and you can prepare yourself to take the exam before January 1st, I do have a document in my shop that you will turn your 2024 book into a 2025 for $20. And sometimes you can find a 2024 book for really cheap, and then just add that to it. And then usually the combo for just the CPT could be $60. But how do you tell the differences between the classifications of anesthesia? So if your patient is here and they're getting a trigger finger worked on, right? A finger in their hand. And you notice that they're drawing up anesthesia, but they're using lidocaine, and they might say the word local, or they might say that they used lidocaine or whatever. If they put in a nerve block in the wrist to block the hand from feeling any pain, you know that's regional. You're doing it on a body part. If you're putting the patient under anesthesia to put them to sleep, that's general, because you're having to keep their lungs working, their cardiovascular, all that stuff going, and they don't have any control. And then if you're just monitoring the patient, their blood pressure, their respirations during, like, you gave them something to make them go to sleep, but they're not having a trach underneath them, down them, and you're not having to breathe for them, then you're just monitoring, right? They might be asleep, but they're just monitored. They might be, like, not really asleep, but like they don't care sometimes, they just have their eyes closed, but they can hear and respond to you, that kind of stuff. That's your monitored. So all these codes are all in a row. They should be under the same kind of header. And let me get back to trying to pay for some YouTube memberships. So if you're in my YouTube channel right now, I am going to try, if I can, send out some YouTube memberships to 5 people to win. So you could potentially win access to my YouTube channel for free for 30 days. There we go. All right, let's see. Is it streaming again? Yeah, there we go. So somebody asked me what she needed to know for her CCC tomorrow or this weekend. So I was just telling her about that case we did last night, go-kart, on our cardiovascular, where we did 3 selective catheterizations on 3 first-order arteries. One of them was celiac, one of them was superior mesenteric, and the other one was inferior mesenteric. And we did 3 of them. We went in and look around for blood clots or hardening of the arteries or whatever. We didn't find anything. It was all normal. And then we backed out and left. We did them with radiology. So that meant we had 6 CPT codes. 3 of them was just the same CPT code for the select catheterization of a first main. And we had 3 radiologies that went with it. So there was 6 CPT codes for that. But probably knowing how to use Appendix L would be super helpful. Being able to word search when they say they did a catheterization in your celiac, and then they went to splenic, right? Knowing that that's going to be your mama code and your add-on code is helpful. But if you only stay in your first order and know how to find them, then that is just your main code, right? So knowing how this correlates with the CPT codes would probably be healthy for the CCC. I've never taken that exam, but I can imagine. I've got the course for free, and in fact, I think I'm in the course right now, which isn't much. It's just some videos and 1 final exam. They don't give like chapters or chapter quizzes. It's just 1 final exam after you watch some videos. It's a killer. The first time made me want to give up. That's right. You live very close to me, girl. You live in Kingman. I was up there doing jury duty for 3 days in January on a really cool case. It was very emotional. I can't believe how emotional being a juror is. I didn't think about it being that hard on you as a jury person, because you got a lot of responsibility. We don't know anything about the law. We don't know nothing. We got no education in law whatsoever, but we're supposed to decide what happens here. It's crazy emotional. Yeah, that's crazy. I hope you're making KRMC pay you back for all your expenses. For sure, reimbursements. But hopefully you caught a lot of that those differences and marking them is super helpful, whether your things are permanent, temporary, whether you're just replacing a lead or not, or just a battery, or are you upgrading, trans versus dual versus subcutaneous versus, yeah, all that stuff is super helpful for sure. I should take that final exam in the course and see what it's about. See if it has any info in there that could help you out. Although I find the exams extremely different than the course's final exam. So like if I took the E&M course, but I also took the certification exam to be E&M certified, whatever it is, CEMC, extremely different. 100% total opposite from the course. Whatever's in their course isn't what's in their certification exam. So it's always totally different, always. But very cool. It's doing it again, is it? Sorry, guys. It seems like there was a drop in our internet, which is really weird. I'm on fiber optics. We have 2 different types of internet, and none of the kids are on the internet, so it's just me. Everybody pick A as your modifier for this one. All right, if we've got anesthesia time, time that started here, time that started here, time that started here, and time that started here or ended there, what time would we have for anesthesia overall? Sorry about the view on TikTok. I know is like crappy. It's just through a cell phone that comes right here. Thank you guys for the 10 heart me's. And we've got 6,000 taps and 43 of you guys on. On YouTube, I have 25 people on and 26 likes. Thank you so much, guys. No second guessing yourself. You have to stop that. Yep, 100%. Ooh. Computer froze again. I hope it hangs out with us. There we go. It unfroze. I'm going to close that window. See if that helps. Some just do this, and I think I'll turn off the video too. That way it doesn't have to process that. Less stuff open, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think the correct answer is for this one? B? Good job. Perfect. Excellent. Anything that says surgery time or surgery end, get rid of. Don't pay attention to on your anesthesia question, and only do the math on what's left over. Here's another one. YouTube froze again. Come on. Let's see. There it goes. There it goes. It's going. It's going. All right. Now they're at the new question. What do you guys think is the answer for this one? If we get rid of surgery time and ignore it, anything that starts surgery or ends surgery we ignore. Get rid of, only do the math on what's left over. Sorry, I was just messaging my kid. They had messaged me. Turn that off. See if that helps. Still B again? Oh my gosh, is B the answer to every question? These are cool. These would be more of like what CCS would do for how to calculate anesthesia. We don't have to deal with these with CPC, but if you're doing CCS, they might have you calculate the charge for anesthesia. Got another one that works for a local hospital. Says the answer is B. So our calculations are like the base units. If you know the base units, equal 10 plus 1. Your physical status modifiers also are included. So for this one, we have 10 units plus our P3, which gives us one more unit. So we got 11 units altogether for this patient, right? So our base 10 plus our patient status, 11 units. We have 7 units of time in 15-minute increments. So we add that to our 11, which gives us 18. And then if you multiply that times 100, sounds like a bunch of hoodoo to me, we get what? 18 times 100 is not B on this one, but D. So, that make any sense, guys? It's way too fine. But you don't have to worry about this for CPC. But if you're going to do CCS, you might have one of these calculations that you need to do. Trying to think. I wonder if COC needs to do these calculations. Maybe if you're doing that certification for AAPC, or for their CPB, of course, for their biller. But in general, we don't have to do these. Yeah, that's not for me. No worries, baby Ruth. No worries. Me either, Mama Coder. That just sounds like a bunch of hoodoo. I'm like, you really came up with that number. Let's just times it by 100. It's just so funny. I'm like, what? Here's the rest of this question. This one's 2 pages long. So the patient returned back to PACU at 3:36. So that's when anesthesia stops. We've got a base value of 3 units. Then we've got our qualifying circumstances of the 99-140. It must have been an emergency situation. So that gives you 2 more base units. And then our time for the anesthesiologist to do the assessment was at 2 a.m. So that's 2 units. And then you do your units per 15 minutes till they drop off the patient back at here. You add all that together, then you multiply that by 100. And what do we get? So our base was 3, our qualifying circumstance was 2, our patient status was another 2 units for our P4, so that equals 7 units altogether. We had 5 units of 15-minute increments, so 5 plus 7 equals 12, and then we take 12 times it by 100, and we get the most expensive thing that we could ever charge. Both answers, no matter what, are what's the most we can charge a patient. But, you know, just look at which one's the highest, right? That's always what we get charged, right? D. D is your answer for that one. All right. Enough of that mess. Let's get back to our CPT codes, which is our home and where we love. Well, don't always love. You usually want to throw the books out the door, but if we have 2 answers that start off with the same CPT code, that's usually a good indication of where our answer is at, right? And we just need to know what's the difference between these 2 answers, and do we need that or not? would we be 3 CPT codes or 2 CPT codes? What is this code for? Can we bill it? Is that part of our guidelines? Do we get to bill an extra code for an arterial line? There's also other names for that. One of the big things about AAPC is they love vocabulary. They love to give things a different name. If you were to look up arterial line in your the back of the book in the alphabetical index to try to find the CPT code for that, you won't find it anywhere other than canonization. And to know that that's canonization and not, they don't call it arterial line, can be difficult. And then sometimes when you get to the certification exam, if you didn't know that in the back of the alphabetical index they call an arterial line canonization, and they switch that vocabulary term on you to see if you know and you've been to the alphabetical index in the back of the book and actually looked under what the code is listed under in the back in the alphabetical index, not inside the CPT book at the code where it's selected, then you might be at a disadvantage during your certification exam if you actually didn't know that that name means arterial line. So some of those things that they like to do is to trick you up in the vocabulary. But it's actually in your manual if you looked up and tried to find arterial line without an available answer for you. If you just didn't know and you needed a direct code without multiple choice, an arterial line, you go through the whole alphabetical index back there and eventually you would find it under canonization, which is really crazy. And unless you've been through the course or actually are a medical coder and had to fight your way to find an arterial line and try to code it, you might not know what they call it somewhere else in the book. So stuff like that is what you might find, especially on that CCC certification. And so writing down in your anesthesia book on that page 69 where your anesthesia guidelines are, adding in the code 36620 right here underneath where I had you guys move your modifiers, and then also put this arterial line here and then give it the other definition of canonization is super helpful. That might help you, if not during your CPC, it could definitely help you in any specialty certifications for sure, but also knowing that this code can be utilized during anesthesia is super helpful, and moving it here to your anesthesia codes will help because you don't have to go look it up in your cardiovascular section either later on. Hey, Mocha Latte. Did you give YouTube away yet? What does that mean? Only read the bottom, my bad. No worries. So B is our answer for this one too. See, if you look in the CPT book too, they call it catheterization, but I think it's actually called something else. Arterial system percutaneous. They don't call it an arterial line, and then you trying to go find it is rough. And they call it canonization, not catheterization. All right. If we are dealing with an atrial fib patient with a rapid ventricular rate, what would you code this patient? Some of the things that are super important is knowing whether we are tunneled or non-tunneled, whether you are central or peripheral. Those things and having those highlighted in your CPT book are helpful. If you are venous or arterial, aorta or ventricular, or in a vein, those differences help out a whole bunch. Oh, about the membership. I haven't given up on it. They quit giving me the opportunity during my live, in the live chat, to give away YouTube memberships. I have to sign in somewhere else and give away the YouTube memberships on a different device, which is weird. But once I give away enough YouTube memberships, and I have enough people in there, maybe they'll give me back that access. You just have to have enough people to be awarded with that access, which is funny. Since there's a work around it, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It seems like they'd want to accept money no matter where somebody wants to send them money from, whether it's during their stream and they want to send money to YouTube, or if they want to, I don't know, it's weird. But they take away that right if you don't have enough YouTube members, which is funny. But hopefully the stream is still going on YouTube, I hope. I have no idea. It says excellent connection on my end, but hope so. I have 7 people on and 28 likes. But it does say there is a good connection. I did lose my little YouTube girl. I don't know why she isn't there. The little girl. But that may be due to my system is not even bringing her up on my end. Close her out and then try to bring her back up. Let's see. There she goes. Maybe she'll get added now. There she is. Yay. Maybe that's it. This one is C. Everybody get C for their answer. You're looking to take a test next month. Awesome. Is 00934 unilateral or bilateral? Let's go look. 009. Oh, 0934. It's bilateral. It is bilateral. So is 00936, but it includes a iliac lymphectomy also. So both are bilateral. Your 00930 is unilateral or bilateral. So is 00924 and 21. we've got two answers that start off with the same code. And so this question must be just testing you on whether they are a P2 or a P3 patient. Your P modifiers are in your anesthesia guidelines on page 69 if you have the 2025 AMA CPT book. And the difference is between mild systemic disease or severe systemic disease. So they're just testing you whether you know the differences right here. Well, I make mistakes sometimes too, Samantha, so I'll say the wrong thing all the time. I can't watch my replays at all. You'll just have to forgive me. I am human. I have tutoring turned off right now, one-on-one tutoring, because it's summertime and my boys are home, and schedule is unpredictable because I never know what we're going to be doing or what's going on in the house, and usually they're so freaking loud I can't concentrate. And I never know where we're going to be or if we have plans to do something. So usually tutoring is turned off during the summertime, and then I start back up in August. Right now I've got workshops planned for Saturdays. So this Saturday I'm doing an E&M workshop. We're going to spend 4 hours together, and we're going to go page by page through the E&M book, and we're going to go through all the guidelines. I'm going to show you how to use that chart on page 9 and 10, and we're going to do a mock exam on E&M and get you squared away on anything to do with E&M questions. Do you bill a consult? Do you not bill a consult? What's your differences between being a subsequent hospital visit versus an admit code? Especially if the consultation was done before the admit. All those kind of craziness, foolishness that goes on in E&M. We're going to do that this Saturday, and then next Saturday we're doing a full mock exam on the certification exam through all sections of the CPC exam, all 18. So we'll do a 3-hour workshop where we're going to do 75 questions in the same pace as the certification exam. And if you can do all those questions with me, get 90% of them correct, then you know you're ready for the exam. If you can find all the answers in the same pace, 120 seconds per question. And then I'm teaching some courses right now, so I have classes on Sundays and Wednesdays with those students. So right now the schedule's kind of full. Just prepping all the work for all that stuff prior to all the classes, plus the 2 free lives here, and making content for all the social media requests. When y'all comment on a video and ask me to make a video on a certain subject, I create those videos for you, so it's all fun for right now. Yay, I'm so glad you got the membership. That's awesome. Blew up fast. Aw. Been doing videos since 2019. So it's almost 6 years now, guys. 6 years. You were here in the beginning. Aw. Yep, the website's on my, the workshop's on my website. Yep. It's on the main page. It's also under the heading workshop also. And if you are signed into my website. I've been harassing you with emails this week about every day, one email a day about the workshop. But that's only if you put in a correct email address that can really get a hold of you. I know a lot of people like to put in fake ones because who wants to get an email from a company every day? But normally I don't email you at all unless I got something coming up. But I know everybody has trouble with E&M. It's one of the major complaints on the internet. I refused to learn it for my certification exam. There was just no way. Between learning cardiovascular and integumentary and ICD-10 and HIPICS and Latin, it was just too much. But back then we had 150 questions and you could miss a whole lot more questions. So I knew the difference between new and established patient. And hopefully I thought I meant I knew the difference between admit and, observations, of course, and all that stuff. But there are some tricky ones. Like I never would have known that a consultation before an admit, like if somebody gets consulted down an observation before they get admitted, that's a subsequent hospital visit. I would have never known that ever in my entire life. And that probably took me 4 years of teaching before I figured that out anyway. E&M's rough. Yeah, you can email me medicalcodingbyjen@gmail.com. Love Gmail. Pretty reliable. I hate Yahoo. Please do not sign up on my website with like your internet provider email address or your company email address, like at work or at school or something, because those email addresses go away or disappear or have a lot of blockers on them that block emails. So if I'm trying to send you my notes or reply to you, then a lot of times your internet provider or somebody will block you. But Gmail's reliable. If somebody sends it, it's going to get there. It's pretty cool. I've never had any trouble with it. Outlook is a nightmare. Oh my God. It's just awful. Anyway. Apple. Oh Lord. Yeah, those email addresses are rough. You're saying D on that one? You would be correct. You did need your emergency surgery code, your qualifying circumstance. Yep. That kind of stuff will be on the exam. Knowing when to add it and when not to add it. Super helpful. Be sure to know what your answer would be in anesthesia if you were doing a natural delivery that turned into a C-section. What's the anesthesia code for that scenario? That kind of situation would probably pop up on your certification exam. Bubba, thank you for the roses. Thank you for the heart me's. Now we got 8,000 taps. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing the live. That's always helpful. We got 20 people on YouTube now, 31 likes. Thank you so much, guys. The E&M class starts at 2 o'clock Arizona time, so it is 6 o'clock Arizona time, really close. So that should give you a point of reference for when Saturday's meeting will start. My part of Arizona is like crazy. Part of our state of Arizona follows the skipping forward and falling back time thing that happens across the United States. And then another part of Arizona where I live doesn't. And then also, I am not Pacific time zone. I'm not Mountain. I'm not Central. I'm not any time zone other than Arizona. We have our own time zone. So another stressful thing, trying to do classes or tutoring with anybody anywhere else in the world is a nightmare, because no one knows what time I am versus what time I put into Zoom, and then what time their time is. It's just a nightmare. But anyway, I'm doing my best. It is 6 p.m. here in Arizona. Sun's still out. It's still 120 degrees. Well, 115 actually. But it is 6 p.m. here in Arizona right now. That's it. So 2 p.m. this Saturday we'll be doing the E&M workshop. 2 p.m. next Saturday we'll be doing the mock workshop. Replays will be available for 90 days from the workshop, either one. And then once 90 days is over with, anybody that is subscribed to my YouTube channel gets the replay for the rest of their subscription. However long they stay subscribed, they get access to all my old replays of all my workshops. This one. Sometimes AAPC calls this 5,000 different names. Heart-lung bypass, pump oxygenator, cell saver, or lung bypass, heart and lung bypass, cell saver, pump oxygenator, and then what it says inside the CPT book will be something different than what's not inside the CPT book, right? So what's in your question will be different than what they call it, and it's all the same thing. So just knowing those different names for things, or having them marked in the book, is super helpful. The differences between intra, infra, extra, peri, trans throughout your book will make a big difference too in your questions, what the answer is. Friday, I'll be back with 2 more hours, same time, 4 p.m. Arizona time zone. I've already got the link up on my YouTube channel. You can click it and it'll notify you when I hit the live button. Sometimes I add on TikTok, sometimes I don't. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, if I can handle 2 chat rooms or not, or if, I didn't get any sleep. Sometimes I only go live on YouTube, so just saying. I am an old lady. No, you don't have to have the YouTube membership to watch the video. You purchase the workshop, you've got access to it for 90 days. The previous question, answer was A. It was the code by itself and the cheapest one. When you're doing the process of elimination, you know your answer has to be A or B because the question starts out with the same answer twice. Then it's just whether you would be adding an extra code or not. They're only asking us to code for the anesthesiologist that placed the arterial line. All right. What is our modifier for Medicare? We've got 2 down for the same answer, so you know it's got to be either B or D. Your answer would probably be in your HipPix book only if you have AAPC's version of a HitPix book. They have some general coding guidelines in the back and 100 randomness publications from CMS that give us guidelines for lots of things like anesthesia to how to store blood, how do you code, everything. It's just randomness back there, but it's all back there. Their HitPix book is over 800 pages long, so it's got a lot of extra stuff in it. Some schools ship out different HitPixes, so. Thanks, Peach, for the follow. Almost 9,000 taps on TikTok. Yes, D is our answer. Best thing to do is just to add this to your anesthesia guidelines in your CPT book. You've got that blue page. There's plenty of writable, clear, it's blue, but writable space in that area. And just put down Medicare anesthesia guide modifiers are this and that. Then you've got it during your exam, and then you don't have to worry about trying to find that answer in your HitPix book. Page 69. Oh, the one in your HitPix book? Good God, girl, I don't know. It's a nightmare to look through. I got the electronic version. I could, if I wasn't scared my computer would die right now, if I went to VitaSource and looked it up in VitaSource by doing a word search for it, I could find it. But that's the best way to do it, is to have an electronic version of that book and then do word searches for it, because trying to find it even when told where the answer is very difficult, even if you have a page number, because there's a lot of words on those pages. Because when you're doing pocket prep, they'll tell you the page number where a lot of answers are, and I still struggle with some of those HitPix ones. But I find them easier to find when I do the word search and let the computer help me out a little bit. Yep, modifiers are in your HitPix book. That's correct. Autumn says it's on page 586 is QS. She's probably looking for where the guideline is that these modifiers are just for Medicare. It may be written in the modifier section, in the full description, not the baby list with the temporary descriptions. We do have some full list descriptions of the codes in the back where she's saying they are. It may say Medicare only back there. But I was just wondering where the guideline is in that CMS 100 publications back in the back that says these are the only ones that you use for Medicare for this type of situation. They do have those kind of rules back there too. Like, how do you bill hemophiliac patients and stuff like that? They got all kinds of rules back there. Everybody got C for this one? The question before was B. I think dyslexia is getting the best of me today. With D's and B's. CRNA. personally performed with medical direction, what modifier would the CRNA do? There's a difference, too, about what modifier the anesthesiologist would use. We'd have to know how many cases they were directing, but there is a difference in making sure when you're doing your question during your exam, do you know who you're billing for? Am I billing for the anesthesiologist, which would be different, or am I billing for the CRNA services? So be sure to pay attention to that, because it is different for sure. If this was their only case, the anesthesiologist would bill QY if they only did one case. But our CNA does what? Yep, QX. Good job. Perfect. What about this one? We're billing for the anesthesiologist. Yep. We are billing B. What about this one? Six cases. C on that one, and this one with some on the front and some on the back. Who are we billing for? B, C, and D technically all have the same answer. It's just different endings and beginnings. What modifiers are we going to bill for the anesthesiologist? And then, what is the second set that we're going to bill for the CRNA? So keep them straight so you know that the anesthesiologist comes first, and then the CRNA will be second. What do you think? Indeed, it is D. Good job. Perfect. Ooh, this one's cool. It's got time and anesthesia. Let me move my face up some and get out of the way. So, are we doing 90 minutes or 135? That's helpful. go. Is that better? What do you guys think? Take it one number at a time. First, figure out if you're 90 minutes, then figure out if you're 35. That'll help. Then you've only got a difference between another CPT code, and that's it. How many minutes were we? 7:30 is our prepare time. And the anesthesiologist released the patient at 9:45. We don't care about the two numbers in the middle. 7:30 to 9:30 is 2 hours. So that's 120, right? You know you're over 90 minutes anyway. You ain't got to do any more math than that. So you know your answer is between B and D. And your only difference between B and D is a 90 code or the 00 code. Or whether you would use your 90-year-old patient thing too. Probably, I don't see any CPT codes. We might say a CPT code is less than 1 year of age in it, but I've never seen one. Is there one? I don't think there is that says the patient is older than 70. So just knowing that factor, that our patient is over 70 years old, and I don't think we've got any anesthesia codes that say they're older than 70. Then that means we would have to use our qualifying circumstance for advanced age or extreme age, whatever they call it. Some of our CPT codes actually do say it's for anybody under than 1 year of age, which we would add that code with it if it was a newborn or something, but sometimes the CPT code has in it less than 1 year of age, and in that case we would not use that qualifying circumstance code, the 99 code, because it's already in the CPT code descriptor. So the only reason we add qualifying circumstances or even modifiers is to change a CPT code to say we did something a little different. So it has to be B for this answer, right? And that's just half-heartedly, not even opening up a CPT book. I'm just half-heartedly did the time, knew I was over 90 minutes with 2 hours, right? Because 60 plus 60 is 12, so I knew that was over 90. And then knowing whether I add the 99-100 or not is just based off of age. So don't let the big scary questions scare you. They're not as bad if you just take it one little tiny step at a time. It is B. So we have a different time for all of these answers, every single one of them. So if you just figure up the time, you don't even have to look at your CPT code. Prepare and recovery, right? 8:30 to 10:30 is 2 hours. What's 15 minutes off of 2 hours? That's an hour and 45 minutes, right? Because trying to figure out the 9:30 to 10:15 would be a nightmare. So I just go on and even it out, make it 2 hours straight, and then just take 15 minutes off, right? Or whatever it is. Yep. 15 minutes off. Another bee. Indeed. They love their bees for these questions. What about this one? We got two answers that start off the same, and they have the same diagnosis code. The only difference is that qualifying circumstance number, right? Would we need it or not? So does the 00561 have a patient's age in the descriptor? If it does say less than 1 year of age, then we do not add that code, and our answer would be A. If that code descriptor does not have an age in it, then we would need to add it. Best ways to learn and test is in my TikTok right here. Click on that blue symbol right there. Go to my pinned TikToks, and where do I start is got everything in it. Tells you what to buy, how to study, everything. It still holds true today. It's exactly what I would do if I had, to start over today. What would I do? I would get the study guide, read it, get your CPT book, highlight it, make the notes, and then practice questions, because it's just one exam. Everything that you learn or process or try to train for this job is totally different in the real world. And all the companies and everybody knows that even going through a medical coding course, you're not trained inside the EHR to do this a modern way. You're trained in a paper book, antiquated way that no one does anymore, that they have to train you on their own policies and procedures on how to do medical coding, which they can write with any guidelines they want. Just because there's a guideline in this AMA book doesn't mean your medical group or health plan follows it at all. We're wild, wild west. Nothing's universal. We can do anything we want in healthcare and write up the rules however we please. Pay the bills or not pay the bills however we please. And it's all based off their policies and procedures that you're going to have to learn on the job anyway. Everybody knows that. So don't stress yourself over the minute details or having to memorize all this stuff. You're just going to have to learn something new when you get on the job anyway. So learn how to pass this exam. That's all you need to do, one step at a time. Whatever certification you want to pass, get that study guide from that certifier. So hopefully you're only using either AHIMA or AAPC. whichever one you're going to do. Then pick your certificate. Are you going to go into risk adjustment and do CRC, which comes with no apprenticeship, which is really cool. And I see a lot of doctor's offices going for people that can risk adjust. It's only on diagnosed codes, which is really cool. Are you going for a CRC or are you going for the CPC? Whichever one you're going to go for, get that study guide from the person that's going to give you the certification, right? Which is AAPC. I have the CPC one for sale that's $50 cheaper than what they charge on Amazon or on their website, maybe. I'm not sure, because I got the teacher discount. So I can get it to you for $100, but you can probably find one cheaper that's used from somebody that already passed, that's reselling theirs on eBay or something like that. Etsy, McCary, somebody's got one. Hopefully you can find one used. Get that study guide, give it a good read, then get your AMA CPT book and get it book prepped. And I've got all the steps on how to book prep your CPT on my website under the resources tab, completely free. There's videos there. There's 8 pictures that tell you what to do. Go through your book and go do them. And then start watching my videos and practice exam questions, because that's all you need to do is learn how to do these practice exam questions. Yep, practice questions are also available on my website. Everything's under the resources tab. Click on that. I've got free practice exam questions, free book prep videos, free book prep images, free courses and classes and grants are under the Q&A. So if you go to the FAQs, they're under resources. There's a whole list of like free classes you could take from CMS on like ICD-10 or fraud and abuse, all kinds of stuff. A grant that you can get from Pocket Prep to get more practice questions. I think Tiffany has a contest right now where they're giving away a course for free too. And I think one of the other course people has a grant that you can apply for. AAPC has a hardship grant and a disaster grant. They've got 2 that you can fill out for. So if you've had like a flood or your dog ate your books, whatever, and you need them replaced, fill out the disaster grant. You know, tell me your house was flooded or it fell or the plane, you know, there's all kinds of disasters that have been happening around. If it got flooded, your house or whatever, fill it out and get your books replaced or get more exam attempts, that kind of thing. But I have all those links on my website at Medical Coding by Jen under the Resources tab. There's a drop-down menu. Don't be afraid of my website. Click on all the little pages, all the little drop-downs. Nothing's going to bite you. I'm not going to spam you. I want you to use those free resources and never spend a dime on any of my stuff. That would be the best thing scenario. The books are going to cost you enough as it is, and the exam attempts. He's 82. What are we going to do when they're 80? you know you're going to have an answer that has that qualifying circumstance code in it. So that eliminates answer B right away. Now, instead of 1 out of 4 chance of getting it right, now you've got 1 out of 3 chance of getting it right. Would you be a 60, a 72, or a 70? He is in poor health. Would you consider that a P2 or a P3? I don't know about any other person's reviews. I know some of them are like $150 each. I don't know what he charges for his review for the CCS. I don't know. I've never done it. I think his course was a lot cheaper, but it's been a long time since I've looked him up. For the CCT, 4 answers I got wrong, 2 right and 1 more right. I bought it. I just know what you think. Oh, I hear nothing but good things. I've never heard anybody complain about that teacher. So that's good. I mean, I have a lot of people that buy the course from AAPC and then they have regret because it did not help them pass the certification exam. So not heard anything like, oh God, I've done this and it was so expensive and it didn't help. So that's cool. Now, I have had people take his course but still need help with practicing the certification exam, and they needed to learn the process of elimination, looking for similarities, or how to tell the differences between the CPT codes in a finer detail than what the course provided them. But they did get helpful information out of their course, and they didn't have any buyer's regret from their course, from that company. So, but they still needed some extra help with passing the exam a little bit. So that's helpful. You only got the review. Okay. Can't hurt. I've also seen some reviews from Integrity. There's something called Integrity. I don't know who that teacher, they sell a lot of review day-long classes or something that are really, really, really cheap. And they come with CEUs. Now, how good of a teacher, I don't know. I know she'll give you like an exam, and you have to download that PDF, fill out the answers manually, and then scan it back, and then send it to her for her to grade. And then you'll get the grade back, and then you get credit and get your CEUs if you do all that. Her reviews are inexpensive also. Limited amount of hands-on experience. Yeah, I know. I wish somebody would build an EHR system that you guys could play around in a whole lot better. You know, with real medical coding examples in an electronic medical record system, a ton of examples and images. Where do you find this? Where do you find that? How do you actually fill out a CMS, and then the UB4, where would you go in the EHR system and fill it out and actually transmit them? How would you do all that? That would be a school. That would be cool. EHR systems are super expensive and they make them memberships. So if you want to be a biller in an EHR system or to have that ability for your medical practice, that's one membership. Then if you want to have the EHR patient chart portal, that's another membership. If you want to scan or transmit prescriptions, that's another subscription portal. And then it's based off how many providers you have in your system. Then it's based off how many employees you're going to have access and logons and passwords for. It's all tiered, and they piece it out like a Happy Meal or something, you know, with if you want extra, it's this, it's extra for that. So EHR systems inherently are really expensive. Then if you want a lab component to keep up with your labs, send out lab recs to LabCorp electronically, then get them back, that's another piece you got to pay for. So it's a mega business. That's why Epic has like Disneyland to sit in their offices, is because they piece it out and sell each individual piece to the medical practices and then the health plans on top of it. There's no global price for everything, a la carte, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's crazy expensive. So even if I was to buy an EHR system and then have to manually load it with patients and records and stuff, what an undertaking and an expense it would be for me. It would be really hard. Now if I built my own EHR system, that could be a thing, but I don't know. Yep, it's on Friday. Thank you so much, Twinkle. You're awesome. You're sitting there working up a storm. All right, guys. Y'all got the answer for this one? We know it's D. Yeah, it would be great to build one. Yeah. We need our kids to start going through IT tech school and start writing code. Have our community build us an EHR system. Maybe I can have one family person do the billing part and another one do the patient portal and then another one do the lab portal, and maybe we could all pitch in together and build us our own EHR system. I don't know. I haven't looked in several years to see. I used to do pricing for EHR systems for my medical group, and training and super users and stuff. So if you wanted to capture like category 2 or 3 codes, that's another system. If you wanted to add a patient portal in there to where patients can log on and look at their own records, that's another price. If you wanted to have your nursing staff be able to capture blood pressure readings and then category 2 and category 3 codes to send out, that's another management program. If you wanted to capture your HEDIS measurements and star ratings, that's another program and another membership fee. It's crazy how much they sell to those doctors' offices and stuff and the health plans. Don't forget, if you're applying for a job, one of my recommendations is if they have listed in the advertisement that they use Epic or they use this, that, or the other thing, and you've never seen it before, be sure and check out YouTube videos on it. Contact the sales team from that whatever, like Epic team, email them, let them know that you are in charge of gathering up some information for your medical group you currently do not work for, but you pretend to, and that you want to look at some of their system so that you can do a PowerPoint presentation for the different EHR systems that you've been tasked to look at, and give your feedback to your medical group on the different options that they have. That sales team will send you a ton of stuff on their system, what it looks like on the inside. They may even set you up with a training session, let you have a log on, a password, let you play around in their system a little bit, And then that way, when you do go to your interview for a position, if they ask you if you've ever used Epic before, instead of saying the blanket no, you can say, well, I've gone through Epic's training. I've been in, contact with their sales team, and I have my own log on, and I've been in there, and I'm confident I could find my way through your charting system. Just knowing where to put in a date of birth and pull up a patient is just step one, right? The rest of it's easy. But, you don't want to, in this job market where jobs are not hard to find, but you need to make a difference to kind of stand out sometimes. Doing that is super helpful. And Epic's sales team ain't got a dang thing to do all day long. They'd be happy to play around with you and give you a ton of information on their charting system. This one right here. Don't forget about job openings in EHR systems. I've been asked to work for many of them before. There are many opportunities for medical coders to even work for an EHR system. And you can just show medical groups how to use their system. Hey, Lou. You better not have eaten any of my chicken. There still better be 60 of them things there.
60? You're bigger than I am.
I got big back. Did she get you a 30-pack too?
No, she got me a 12.
No.
Yeah, she got me a 12.
No.
Yeah.
Did you tell her I always buy you 30?
Yeah, well, she said she didn't have enough money for it, but it's okay.
I would have sent her money for that to feed you properly.
Yeah, it's okay.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. Kendall says hi, by the way.
You wore your little purse.
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I
love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
I
Love
don't think
it.
I'm going to stop wearing this purse now.
All right.
Love you.
Love you. I got him one of those little Birkin things. Yeah. You got to put a Labubu on that thing. By the way, he didn't want one. All right. What do you guys think? I was a biller for a major hospital that had all of the Corner, Epic, Meditech, and eCase management. Woo, Lord, they had it all. Every bit of it. Wow. Yep, we're here, ready to help whenever. Absolutely. What do you guys think is the answer for this question? This will be our last one. We've been on for almost 3 hours. We'll do 2 more hours of live lesson or until I get tired on Friday. I've already got the link up on YouTube, so check that out. Completely free. You can watch all the replays of any time I've done practice exam questions online with you guys. The replays are all available on YouTube. And yes, I do make mistakes. Only human, so pay attention to what the slides say and what they say the answer is, because sometimes I'm dyslexic. Good Lord. But I do my best. I'm just trying to help. Are we going to be in the nervous section of our CPT book, or are we billing for anesthesia? That's the first thing that's going through my head as I look at this question, because 2 of them are in the nervous section, which is really unique. And then it's just a difference between, probably, since we're doing anesthesia questions, right? Just the difference between the O and the 1. Which one's the cheapest? It's A, but who knows? It could be A or C. If we're doing a craniotomy for a hematoma, I think that is like the 3rd anesthesia code in. If you look at these codes long enough, you'll know your first one of that coding section is probably for just random craniotomy for some reason, like we might have just needed to do a burr hole or something. and then they go down, and one of them's like a shunt, and the numbers just get bigger, right? As we go through here, we might have the cerebral fluid that we need to drain. There's a code for that. There's one for hematoma, and the numbers just go up as more detailed the surgeries are located or, noted. So this one's probably the NOS, not elsewhere classified. If it's not one of the ones underneath it and it's not listed there, then you can use that code. The other ones are more specified as to what type of procedure or diagnosis we're dealing with. And if it's not one of those, if that's not listed, then we can go up and use our not elsewhere classified one. I hope those YouTube memberships that we gave away help you guys out. Still got 30 of you guys on YouTube and 34 on TikTok. What do you guys think? Everybody saying C? Yep, it is C. Not too bad. We got a few more of these, not very many. 3 or 4 more anesthesia ones we'll pick back up on Friday, and then we'll probably move to I'm currently working on the E&Ms for my E&M workshop that I'm doing on Saturday, but my class is fixing to be working on lab and path codes for Sunday's class. So it'll probably be E&M questions or lab and path questions that we do on Friday, because my head's going to be swirling around those codes for sure. So I hope this has been super helpful. Love you guys. You guys have a great Friday night, or Monday night, I'm sorry. But hopefully I will see you guys on Friday night. Yes, for sure. And I hope the rest of the week is super easy. There's never any red lights in your guys' way this week. And it's just a lot less stressful of a week for you guys, is my very, very hope. May you all have sweet sleep. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great one too. Yes, I had very good sleep last night. It was crazy good sleep last night. So I hope you guys do too. Love you guys. I will see you guys on Friday. If I can go live and do some book prep in between then, if I have some time, I will on TikTok. Hope this is helpful.